All right, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Talkin Investing. I'm Tom. George should be here any second. I have a George window open, and George is not in it yet, but he should be in a moment. Hope everybody had an awesome day trading. I hope everybody had an awesome week trading. If you were in the Bitcoin miners and you didn't have a good week this week, then I don't know what happened. This was about as good as it gets. And today was insane for some of these miners. And I will tell you, I didn't have a lot of the ones that were, 30% plus movers today, but hopefully some of you guys participated in some of that. And it's just been a great, great run. I mean, this was another unbelievable week. This year is finishing very, very strong. So welcome to everybody. Let me just take a minute and say hello to some of the members. First of all, we have a new member, so welcome to our new member, Kopany, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the Talkin Investing Squad. I appreciate you joining. There's a bunch of content ready and waiting for you, and you can join into the members-only Discord. And I'll just say hello to a few people, and then we'll get rolling. Hello, Sourmelon Gaming, and Darren, and Justin, and Midway, and Corey, and Crypto Fever. Let's see. JR, Jay, His Honor, Ironhead, Donnell, Nash V, Defcon, Ross. I'm just scrolling down. Alex, Wes, JJT, hello. If I missed you, Old Jock, hello. If I missed you, hello to everybody else. And hello to all the subscribers. And hello to everybody who's joining us here today on the live stream. I appreciate all you guys being here. Hopefully you guys had a great day. And I know we're, for those of you who celebrate, we're just days before Christmas here. It's the holiday season all the way around. So we got our Santa rally, or whatever you want to call it. I feel like this counts. This was an absolutely spectacular week. While we're waiting here for George, pressing the button, but it's not working. All right. If you guys could please smash the like button, it makes a huge, huge difference for the live stream in real time. Hopefully we should have a nice big live stream today. This was one of the best. This could have been one of the best days for the Bitcoin miners of the year. We're going to go through what happened today. A lot of announcements and then some other news in the market this week. So we got 26 likes right now. We used to shoot for 100 likes. We've been getting 200 likes per live stream, and it's really made an unbelievably big difference in the live stream. So if you are willing, please smash the like button. If you're new here, welcome. Or if you've been here for a while, welcome. If you have not yet subscribed, also please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the content. It also helps the channel out a lot and gets the videos and the live streams out to more people. So it is much appreciated. All right, I'm going to read a few of the comments. Let's take a look. First of all, okay, Clive, thank you for the super chat. Clive said, I'm truly amazed the effectiveness of stock options when you understand the right way and time to utilize them. It's incredible. There is no doubt when these stocks run. I mean, here's the thing. I'll just pick as a random example. Argo blockchain was up 35% today. So when the underlying stock is up 35%, if you understand how to use options and you have the right option, I mean, it can be multiples of that. It can do 5 times that or even more in just one day. So, and you don't get a lot of companies that move like this. So we're having some pretty drastic moves. Now, the flip side is, please, if you're thinking about using options, crawl before you walk before you run. I always try to reiterate that, because on the flip side of options is if they go the wrong way, you end up with nothing. So, risk reward, as always, there's, risk reward in everything. So please trade carefully, and that includes all of these stocks as well. All right. Obviously, right now we are on an unbelievable run. We're finishing out the year in a super, super strong way. Might have to take a quick quick break and see where George is at, because I just talked to him and he's missing in action. So give me 20 seconds to just text him and see what's what. We got to hear from George. Pardon the silence. All right. I just sent him a text. We'll see what happens. Oh, all right. Let's get the thank you, somebody. Barry, thanks for the reminder. Let's get to the, I got to switch. Well, I'm going to leave this. Now that gets very confusing. So I got to switch to this until George jumps in. Okay. So that you guys can see the graphics, let's just Crypto Fever, George will be here. I talked to him several times today, including 1 minute before we started the stream, so I'm not sure what's going on. He must have got delayed in some way at the last second. Maybe he got a last second call. So George will be here momentarily, and I just sent him a text as well, so we'll see what's happening. I'll give him a couple of minutes. Oh, sorry, I'm switching the screen around trying to figure out the right way. Okay, so but until George gets here, let's just go through. I'm just going to run through quickly what happened with some of these stocks. And also, I'm going to ask everybody, please, if you could smash the like button. It makes a huge difference. We're at 53 likes. Our target is 200 likes. Let's see if we can get this live stream going. I know it's the Friday before a holiday weekend, but by the same token, this was an unbelievable day in Bitcoin. So I'm going to take it from the top down. Some of these stocks just today moved spectacularly. And then I want to look at a few of the charts, because on the 1 week this week.
Have any sounds? Okay, so you're going to go to
George, you are live. FYI, we are live. Right. You are live.
Hello. Yeah, which I got to do? This is the sound thing, the microphone.
George, can you hear me? You're live. George, you're live. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna give him a call. All right. Pardon the technical difficulty. I think George is getting set up, but I'm just gonna give him a call.
I got no sound.
George, you're live.
Yeah, I think you gotta turn them on.
You're live and we can hear you.
I got no sound, Tom.
We got sound on our end. We can hear you.
You're good now.
Let us know in the chat. Can you hear George? Because I can hear George. So please let us know in the chat if you can hear George. We can see you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I'm waiting to see if anybody in the chat can hear you. Let me get tech support.
Hey, and yeah, I'm not up, man. Where's my camera view?
Man, you're getting blocked out, man.
Here, but we can't hear him. All right, we got tech support coming over. Okay, while we're getting organized, pardon our dust here, but let's take a second. Darren, thank you very much for the super chat. SEC wants all ETF applicants to remove any reference to in-kind redemptions from their filings. Oh, hold on. I just switched over. We're getting this set up so that George's volume is working. Technical support in progress.
Technical support.
Can you hear me, George?
Hello, everyone. I can hear you, yeah.
All right. I don't know if anybody in the chat let us know. Can you talk? Do a mic check?
Hello.
Everything seems to be working on our end.
It's funny. I could see you in the beginning and then you disappeared.
Said I've got no sound. If George has no sound, why does Tom say we can hear you? See, see, guys, sorry. I can hear him through the back end, but it sounds like you guys cannot hear him yet. So we have tech support working on that. I apologize for the...
What did you do this time, Tom?
All right,
All right.
everybody should be able to hear you right now. So according to what I've been told, everybody should be able to hear you. I can hear George, but he sounds like he's in a cave. All right.
Age restriction.
Okay, now here we go. You are up. We're back up. We're back up and running.
Just so you know, my face is not on the. Oh, wait, now it is. I see.
I got you on the stream. I got everything up and running. Welcome, George. All right.
Yeah.
I want to finish. Darren left a super chat. Thank you very much,
What?
Darren. And I was reading what he said.
What is it?
SEC wants all ETF
The
applicants to
main man
remove
2001.
any. Hold on. Oh, please.
It's all good now. No, I can't even do that. Sorry, man.
Are you good?
Yeah.
All right.
Dollar sign.
All right.
What a day. See, Tom, it's really hard to get out of bed when the bank account is so full.
Oh my gosh.
Just so
great.
you got no.
That's fantastic. Well, hopefully everybody's bank account is full after this week. This was a stellar week, and the numbers today were unbelievable. Darren, I will get back to your super chat. Give me a second. I just want George to catch up and get into the conversation here. Welcome to the stream. We said hello to everybody. We're just starting to.
We got some reverb.
You got reverb on your end?
No, they're saying I do. Hang on. Sorry,
Go
guys.
on
I fell
George's
asleep. I fell asleep. Look at that iris. Woo.
Michael
Tom, yeah, I
Johnson's,
think-
thank you. Best
You like-
podcast on miners and Bitcoin. Thanks. Much appreciated. Other than our minor technical difficulties from time to time, usually it's my fault.
This time it's because I fell asleep, Tom.
This time George fell asleep. So
And I'm not at home, but I am at home.
you're
It's just another place.
well, all's
You
well
like the
that-
pink mic?
that's not. Are you at? I'm guessing that's not your workstation.
No, this is not my workstation. Oh, my. Double set.
Okay, so the SEC wants all ETF applicants to remove any reference to in-kind redemptions from their filings. Cash creates only. Can you explain what that means and why? Well, I will tell you, and I'm not sure. So I want to do a little more research, but what I will tell you what it does not mean. I know a lot of people are out there talking about the fact that this is leaving the door open to quote unquote paper Bitcoin and creating false supply, and that is not what is going on. So I will give a more comprehensive answer on that. I wasn't prepared to dig into that right now, but I would put people's minds at ease. I know that is going around in a big way, and I haven't seen anywhere, and I'm just off the top of my head, I'm not recalling all the details that I read, but I did dig into this, and that's not what's going on. So for those of you, and I've heard a lot of different, whether it be on YouTube or other, social medias, I've heard a lot of talk about that. So as far as I know, I can say with a reasonable confidence that that is not what is happening. So it was a minor technical thing. And so I'm gonna get back to that question, but I will answer it in that regard, and then we'll talk more about that when I can be more specific. And I'm making a note.
That's one thing about Tom. He won't guess.
Yeah, if I'm going to talk about it, I want to talk about it intelligently from a point where I've done my research and I remember my research. I did briefly look at this and go through, because I know some people were panicking about some of the and there's going to be more of these. I know they're tweaking these applications again and again. And every time they do that, there's going to be panic and theories as to, what nefarious things are going on. But so far, I haven't seen anything that's raised any red flags for me on my radar. The real Gary Gensler, thank you for the super chat. Salutations, January 10th, baby, FV702. Did FV702 change himself to the real Gary Gensler?
Did he?
I don't know. That was, or is that just somebody shouting out to FV702?
The phone keeps ringing.
DEFCON 2, Max Kaiser has been vocal about it, complaining. So I'll look. I will look into all of that for sure. Now we've got a holiday weekend here. We have no trading in the U.S. on Monday. I don't know. I assume a lot of the rest of the world is a similar situation. But so, you know, the flip side of that is there was an awful lot of rumors also that, you know, these, I saw a lot of, you know, Bitcoin ETF date confirmed, you know, not to name names, but Cryptos R Us had a, okay, so I named the name. He had a, well, he had a title, date confirmed, and he's not the only one. I've seen 50 of those on YouTube, and the date is not confirmed. So that's the other big piece of information that I think everybody should realize. The date is not confirmed. We suspect, we think, we hope, we'll see what happens, but we don't yet know when and if the Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved, which ones will be approved. It's starting to look more and more like it's imminent, right? I think everybody feels that way. And it's starting to look like, you know, and I think we've been saying this for a long time. It's not necessarily, it's unlikely they're going to approve just one of these spot ETFs. They'll probably simultaneously approve some of them, not all of them, I don't think. But we'll see what happens. Hello, McNally Money. McNally Money said, happy holidays all. Xmas came early this year. Yeah, this week it did for sure. So let's just
Crypto golfer. I did not swap my XRP for Solano, but I do have some Solano. I wish I had as much Solano as I do XRP, but I don't.
The question, we'll do a poll on this. Is it too late to get into Solano?
No, not at all. It's just going to do a double.
I had a feeling that was your answer. Let's see what the Crypto Fever said. The paper Bitcoin is just Twitter FUD. So I completely agree with that. I've seen no, and there won't be, not in a spot ETF that defies the very essence of what a spot ETF is. So, you know, in my mind, I've put that to rest. Doesn't mean other things won't happen later down the road. You know, we already have a lot of derivative products on Bitcoin, right? We have a futures ETF. We have a 2X futures ETF. We have a lot of different platforms where, you know, you can 50X, 100X leverage. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff already going on in the Bitcoin universe. But these spot ETFs when they come, they are going to greatly increase the demand side of this Bitcoin equation. And there's just no way around that unless you think all of these companies, and it's pretty much the vast majority of all of the largest money managers in the world, unless you think they're creating these and they're not going to put any of their customers' funds in them, you know, even if it's 1%, you know, they're not creating these for no reason. So, and even if they don't put their own customers' money in, you know, there's going to be a lot of retail investors that move in. We're going to be feeling the effects. It is my opinion, this is a positive catalyst for Bitcoin, and it's not a one-day event. I think over the next 18 to 24 months, that will continue to put upward pressure on Bitcoin, in addition to the fact that that's happening simultaneously with the Bitcoin halving. And, you know, in the US, we've got already the Fed has, you know, showed its hand. We are going to get rate cuts next year. I'm going to show you some inflation data came out today that just greenlit, whatever you want to say. That just gave them even more cover to do rate cuts. And it was going to happen regardless of that anyway. At this point, there's no data point that's going to come out, in my opinion, that stops the Fed from lowering rates next year and lowering them a bunch. and we'll look at what the market thinks. In fact, I want to show you this right now because so this is the March meeting. The futures are now pricing in a 74% chance of a rate cut in the March meeting. So if we look, I don't know if you can see if this is too small at the bottom. This was a 27% chance a month ago. And at one point, for most of the time, it was significantly less than that. 3 months ago was basically zero. All right. So this is even much sooner than, Jerome Powell was indicating, but I do think that these rate cuts are coming. And with the information that came out today, I thought March was a little early for this, but I don't think so anymore. I think we're going to get a rate cut in March. Now, obviously, something can come out in the middle. Some world event could change, but it's starting to look more and more like 2024 is going to be the year of the rate cut, and they're going to be fast and frequent, in my opinion. I just want to take a minute. Stock up with Larry Jones. Welcome, sir, and thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, Tom, just emailed you and popped up. Gotta keep it pushing, but I love how you are feeding the family with the truth. Here's a cup of coffee on me. Thank you very much, sir. And I've been watching right back at you, Larry. You have been doing an absolute fantastic job. I've seen you covering the Bitcoin miners, and as always, outstanding stuff. So for anybody who doesn't, and I'm sure almost all of you know, stock up with Larry Jones. Check out his channel. It's outstanding content. It's very all the way around. It's the kind of positive stuff that I feel like we try to do here. So thank you, Larry, for everything that you're doing. I appreciate you stopping in, and thanks for the cup of coffee. Much appreciated.
Hey, also thank you, RP, for the third super chat also that you've given us. We really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, George. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
And the real Gary Gensler, $5. Marathon, January 2024. So those are January 2024, $32. 40 price, 315, change up $1.22. It looks like if I get to the end here, $4,773 gains in 2 days. So that's on some options, and it looks like some of these are pretty short-term options. So, that's yes.
I can tell you the stupidest person on the stream, this guy. I'll let you guys all know that. So what I did was I doubled my position on Cleanspark, but I'm still in at $7.50.
So you had sold covered calls.
Yes.
At $7.50. And that's how fast Cleanspark moved.
6 figures, guys.
I'm going to go to that chart.
I'm upside down 6 figures.
Here's the thing, though. When you did that, and this is just how unbelievably fast these are moving. Let me go to the 1 day.
The worst 20 grand I ever made.
Yeah. but look at this move, right? I mean, I don't know. I think you did this somewhere in this run up right here where, things were running wild.
It was $5.40 at
right.
the time.
So maybe it was this day right here, which was only, less than 1 month ago. So, that was in the middle of what is now a 242% run up in over a month now. So, 5.5 weeks. Just spectacular numbers. Cleanspark is pretty much still leading the way. Bitfarms has been on a similar run, but a lot of the others are now catching up. I mean, this week was a game changer. So, we got Bitfarms up 199, so basically 200%. And Bitfarms is definitely, it's candle wicking above, but it's really bumping into this $3. So I think it's got some resistance that I think it's going to push through. So we'll see. I think Bitfarms has room to run. It sprinted from $1 to $3. So if it takes a minute, if it takes a breath, these are the things with these stocks. You know, and today was a day where Bitcoin was taking a breather. I want to look at the
Well,
the
I'm
one.
going to answer as you look at that. I'm going to answer a few questions.
Yeah, go right
Hey,
ahead.
just so you guys know, I've been saying His Honor. I've been saying that I thought Annie's been a short squeeze for the last month. I've been screaming that. I said, Tom, this is a short squeeze.
You have said that. I know at least on the members only stream,
yeah.
if not on the Friday streams, you've been
For the last month. I said, yeah, because I wanted to short it. And then we were just paying attention to it. And it just, man, it's unbelievable. Did it close above 3?
So let's.
And I want to know how many people in the chat got Bitfarms under $1. If you can just type in 1, I'm just curious.
So let's take a look
That's
at what
interesting.
Annie's done. So a lot of these stocks now, if you guys remember, we've been keeping our eye on this, and I'll do the weekend update and do the official chart for all of these. This was the high from July. So all of the Bitcoin miners somewhere on July 13th or July 14th hit their high for the year. That's back when Bitcoin at that time was at its high for the year at around 31,800. Obviously, we're way beyond that with Bitcoin, but most of the Bitcoin miners were not yet back to their highs, but you can see, look at this 3-day run. Look at this gap up and this 3-day run here. Any, you know, they candle wicked above this. They closed still a little bit below, but they candle wicked above this. And, you know, so this run from here to here, that's 395%.
That's insane.
That's from December 1st. And, you know, this says December 26th, but obviously that is not today's date. So let's do that again. So from December 1st through December 22nd, 380% run up. So congratulations to anybody who was in any. And it's funny, they were one of the last ones to pop. They were there was a day somewhere back in here, or it may have even been back here, where everything was green and they were red, and it looked like, you know, it was just going the wrong way, and then boom, massive turnaround. So some of these, I just want to talk about some of these, I'm going to call them small ones, because they're still, even with these run-ups, a lot of these are still nano cap stocks, and we don't talk much about them, but I just want to mention, you know, because of some of these spectacular days. Argo Blockchain up 35% today. Stronghold up 31% today. Mawson up 16%. Any up 14.5%. Core Scientific up just under 17%. DMG Blockchain up 21%. GREE up 15%. Those are the small caps. Then if you get into the bigger caps, you got BitDeer up almost 21% today. And if you look, BitDeer is not a small company. And that puts them over $1 billion. So we were talking, I just did a video, the $1 billion club, and there's more and more of these Bitcoin miners getting their market cap over $1 billion. By the way, I think it was Marathon was, I think, peaked at like $7.5 billion in the last bull run. So, you know, if Marathon was a $7.5 billion company 4 years ago, then, you know, what's it going to be in this bull run? And it's, you know, it's, let me go to Marathon as well. But my point is, BitDeer had a big move up today, puts them over $1 billion. Well, just while I'm talking about it, take a look at Marathon, because they are the leader in size. So they're just under $6 billion. I mean, this run up in Marathon, I'm going to pull their chart up as well. And this has been just for, you know, what is by far the largest cap stock out of these by now. And by the way, you know, a month and a half ago, Riot was a larger market cap than Marathon. I know a lot of you guys are down on Riot. We'll do a poll on that. I feel a little bit differently about that.
Dude, yeah. What, has it really moved anytime?
Well, Riot was up 6% today, but by the same token, where's Marathon? Marathon was up 7.8%. So, you know, it outperformed a little bit again today. But these are big moves. So even from the big, so let's finish the list. BitDeer, which is $1 billion company, that was up 20%. Marathon up 7.8%. Riot up 6%. HUT has been running. HUT was up 13% today. They're now just under a $15 stock. And this is one of those things where I feel like everybody should, and I shouldn't say everybody. it's a vocal minority in all likelihood. But I will tell you, we did an interview with Sue on the channel, and I thought there was a lot of compelling information in there. People just destroyed that video. They destroyed HUT and talked about, just, I won't even get into what they talked about. If you want, you can take a look at that. I recommend watching that interview with Sue. She gave a lot of information.
I recommend you reading the comments. I told Tom who it was.
And yeah, and you can read the comments, and it was just filled with hate. And, since then, HUT has been, HUT has ran since then. So, just from, if we go from where they were December 13th, so, a couple of weeks ago, they're up 86%. And they're way up from where they were pre-merger. So everybody thought the merger was a disaster, and I keep saying everybody. And I know it's not everybody. It's in the comments section, it feels like it's everybody. But I think some of you guys were in on this HUT trade, and we did get a few positive comments. But to me, I and there's always, again, don't do what I do, but I was pretty vocal. I thought this was a big buying opportunity. I felt confident there would be, I thought there would be a pullback in the days after the merger. And, George George was talking about that for months. I wouldn't buy it before the merger. And so, sure enough, there was a pullback, and it was a gigantic buying opportunity, as oftentimes these pullbacks are. But that is not without exception. So it's not like, oh, if you see a pullback, go buy the stock. You got to know your stock. You got to do your due diligence. That is a critical part of this process. But if you look at a company and it's a good company, you like what they're doing, you like what you see, and the stock starts acting, negatively outside of what you see in the company, then those become buying opportunities. And that's what we look for. I mean, that's how over the long term to grow your portfolio and, make money. That's what this channel is.
So now that you say long term, Tom and George did a 10K challenge that did not go very well. It didn't go very well at all. But we didn't like run from it. We kept it in there. We just didn't talk about it, everyone. And so I'm going to see if I can show you the proof is in the pudding. And you can see there we go. We have broken $6,200, everyone.
And
$6,200.
Remind everybody, where were we on January 1st?
January 1st, we got down to $1,600.
And we just broke 6,000?
$6,234. So people that said that, they got destroyed in the miners and they ran away. The only thing they did was they ran away and they didn't get back in.
It's the key. And it's, the one piece, the only element that I regret on our 10K challenge is we did not allow ourselves to add money and dollar cost average as we went. And so we had to take the ride down, but we held. And now you can see, we're up almost 400% in that account this year.
Old Jock. Thanks for all the hard work you put in, Tom. Really appreciate all of the analysts you share with us. It's really is starting to look like Christmas.
Thank you, Old Jock. Much appreciated. And yes, this was the Christmas rally. And today really felt like, as Bitcoin, I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin. Went to it and closed it. All right. Just a second.
I think we got to talk about the dollar too, Tom.
Absolutely. I got that chart pulled up so we can do that. So you can see, as Bitcoin meandered here throughout the day, this gold line is where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed yesterday, Thursday. So overnight it ran up a little, but it sat here at basically flat on the day. It was down most of the day a little bit. It jumped up for a minute and things ran wild, and and then it pulled back. So we were very flat. Bitcoin was very, very flat today. And the Bitcoin miners just kept going up and up and up. So, this definitely felt like just a holiday gift today. And this is not the first time this week. So, one of the things we've been on the channel talking about, and on every, I do an update every weekend, and we've been charting this against, in the summer, there was some tough months. August and September were pretty brutal for the Bitcoin miners. And, by the end of September, Bitcoin was pretty much back, even to where it was. And the Bitcoin miners were all down 50, 60, 70%. So we've been tracking since then and just really pounding that. I thought by the end of the year, a lot of these Bitcoin miners would get back, catch back up to Bitcoin or pass it in its performance. And you're going to see when I do that chart this weekend, at one point there were 0 Bitcoin miners outperforming Bitcoin in a 4 or 5 month window. And now you're going to see the majority of them are outperforming, some of them drastically. And I will say, I think that this is probably in 2023, we're almost done. Next week is the last week of trading. As an industry, as a group, I follow 19 of these companies. I think this is probably the strongest industry in the entire stock market. I would love somebody to show me, and if there is one, let me know. But
Pharmaceuticals.
A lot of these stocks, yeah, but with the pharmaceuticals, there's literally thousands of pharmaceutical companies. So you may find some, but on the average, pharmaceutical companies pretty much every year are down drastically on the average. Now, that's not big pharma, but remember, for every big pharma, there's 500 companies that have something in phase 2 or phase 3 that never goes through, and those stocks go to 0. So to me, those are a big roll of the dice. They're hit or miss. This is not so much hit or miss. These stocks are up 300 or 400% on the average in the year 2023. So that's what I'm saying. The industry in its entirety, I'll put the numbers out this high. Yeah. Well, if you turn the chart upside down, maybe that might be the case. So, I think we're, and we had to wait. And for those of you who waited, for those of you who made money, congratulations, because this was not an easy wait. There were 2 brutal periods. 2022 was, a crypto winter. And again, these are leveraged plays on Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin's down, these are down worse. So that was very difficult. Then they had a huge run up the first 4 or 5 months of the year. And then we had, almost a 90-day period where the Bitcoin miners, again, they had their own mini Bitcoin miner winter. And we came out of that, and now the performance has been spectacular. And then when you see year to date, you're going to see it all worked out that these if you were dollar cost averaging all the way down and all the way through, you're way up right now in the majority of the Bitcoin miners. And as of this week, with this week's price activity, now all 19 of the Bitcoin miners that I follow are in the green for the year. There were 5 that were stubbornly in the red, then 4, then 3 remained. Those are now all green on the year. So, from top to bottom. And I still will say, with all that said, I do think there's going to be winners and losers in this space. So I don't think that every single one of these is going to perform exactly the same. I don't think they're all going to the moon. I do think, if you're a swing trader or a day trader, there are some days like this, with Argo up 35%, Stronghold up 31%. I mean, these are giant moves. So, but I don't know that all those companies long-term, DigiHost was up 11% today, but I don't know where they're going long-term. So, you still got to do your due diligence. And I like to try to stick to, the highest quality companies that I can find. One of the things that results in is over the long term, you might not catch, you might not get the 50x, but I'd rather have a much higher probability of getting the 5, 6, 7x. I mean, those are spectacular, mind-boggling results. And by the way, those aren't a fairy tale. There's several of these companies. Let's see if I have last week's chart open.
As Tom does that, do you please do us a favor, hit the like button. It helps us out in real time, get more people to make smart decisions with their money.
George, good point. We're still under 100 likes, so it's much appreciated. So this is, let me just show you a couple of these on our charts. And this was from last Friday. So obviously this weekend I will update this as well. This is the last 9 weeks. So that's that period I was talking about where things started to turn around. In the last 9 weeks now, and this doesn't include this week, which I think may have been overall the best week of the year for the Bitcoin miners. We'll see. I'm going to do the numbers this weekend. If it wasn't, it was close. But already, in this 9-week period, these are all green. We had, Bitfarms up 214%, Cleanspark up 202%. But what I really want to go to is this one right here. If you look year to date, so this is year to date. Sorry. This is before this week that we had right now. So before this week, we have, Core Scientific is a little bit of an anomaly, but up 845%. Bitfarms, this is 575% year to date before this week. So this is what I'm saying. You want your 5X or 6X. These aren't, these are not pipe dreams. This is not like clickbait. Like this already happened.
So Tom, do you think any got rid of that 26% upside down?
These are now all green.
Oh, really? All green.
That's Thank you, George. That's one of the main reasons I came here, right? There were still 3 that were stubbornly in the red. And Mawson and Annie were down, 70% not too long ago. And, now they're in. When I do my chart this weekend, there will only be green on this chart. And most of these companies that were up 300, 400, 500% were up even further. And we see an Argo blockchain was up 92% on the year, was up 35% today. So, things can. HUT had a monster week. Let's just look at, HUT was up 147% on par with Bitcoin. So to me, and I've been saying, and I don't know, I can't tell you which ones are going to be the winners. And obviously we don't tell you what to buy or sell. But the reason I make these charts is when you see Bitcoin up 155%, you see a bunch of these hanging right around with Bitcoin. To me, if you think one of these is a good company, then they're underperforming because they're not doing the leveraged play that they should be on Bitcoin. So potentially that means there's some big room to the upside. Even past, I think some of these stocks that are up 3, 4, 500% have a lot of room left to the upside. So if they do, imagine some of these stocks down here if you think that it's, a stock you have a high level of conviction in. To me, HUT is one of those stocks. So they were up 147%. And then if we look, this was last Friday. So on top of that, this week, they were up 40% this week. So, they're over $1 billion market cap. These guys entered the $1 billion club as well. And you can see, here's their high from July. So with all of this momentum that HUT has had, actually, if you go all the way to the top, they have to move up 54% just to get back to where they were in July of this year when Bitcoin was at just under $32,000. I mean, Bitcoin's hanging around $44,000 right now. And which leads me to, let's do a poll.
As you do that poll, I'll let everybody know that if we don't comment, I read everybody's comment. But Kevin, man, I hear you. Kevin, you should get more active in the Discord because if you would have said that question, you had the choice between buying Solano and I forgot what the other one, Avalanche, maybe. If you would have said that and asked the other guys, maybe they would have given you some ideas. I know Crypto Fever definitely, when Crypto Golfer, they're in there all the time, and there's a few other guys. Satoshi Stats or something like that. He's in there all the time, and then I don't know. There's a whole bunch of people in there all the time. They have some really good knowledge of crypto. Of course, you make your own decision with your own money, but I will tell you also that I just bought a lot of. Just this minute, like 2 minutes ago, I bought a lot of Riot.
Oh, just now as we speak.
Yeah, as we speak. I forgot to buy it earlier today.
Yeah, so Riot's one we'll talk about too, because I see people just absolutely bashing Riot, and to some extent, some of the comments are fair questions. So don't get me wrong. There's no company is perfect, and Riot's not doing everything that I want them to do, but I do think they're not performing as poorly as people are making it out to be.
And just
So,
all the cryptos are doing really well right now, Tom. I mean, I'm in shock actually
should I
how
pull
well they're
up
doing.
the
48,000 by the end of the year. Good question, Tom. Good question.
yes, so that is the poll. Will Bitcoin hit 48,000 by the end of the year? Remember, for the equities, we don't have many trading days left, but for Bitcoin, it's got all the way to December 31st. So we got basically
Right.
10 days left. And, we're in striking distance now. So we'll let you guys answer that question. So the last, it may have been our members only stream, Solana was in 6th place. And we were saying, could it jump up? And here we go. It passed XRP. It passed BNB. Remember, we just had this in our members. For those of you, I see a lot of members in the chat, so I know you guys were there. That was the question we were asking, and it's already happened. It already passed XRP and BNB. It's up 26% this week. XRP is pretty flat, as George predicted.
Yeah, I don't expect XRP to do anything for 2 to 3 years, but I can't afford to be out if it, takes off. And it's extra money that's just sitting on the sidelines anyways.
I'm surprised to see BNB had up 10% week.
That's interesting to me. That one's an interesting move.
Solana up 26%, by far the winner here at the top of the board in the top 10. And it's now $41 million. I mean, this is ridiculously close. In fact, they're, I think, trading as we speak. So they're almost virtually a tie here, it looks like, in market cap. But I think, Solana's got a heck of a lot more momentum than...
Just so you know, this is my daughter's setup, not my setup, obviously. Oh, the reason I bought Riot is because I meant to buy it earlier today, and if I don't buy it now, I'll never buy it. So
Riot, yeah. Yeah, and I'm still adding... Riot's one of my top 3 positions. It's now in 3rd by quite a bit, only because, Cleanspark and Bitfarms are my 2 largest positions out of Bitcoin miners. And they presented better buying opportunities for a longer period of time. So I've mentioned to everybody, I went even past what I expected to be a full position just because the buying opportunity just kept presenting itself. And now they've run up so much further than Riot that, there's a big discrepancy. So I'm actually now switching to, I did add a little bit of Riot this week. As you guys know, I think I told everybody I've been adding Hut. I added Hive. And Hive Hive's having a nice run, and I think we're at the beginning of that. Not financial advice, I have to say. But to me, I think, and let's go while I'm saying that. Hive put out, right, here we go. So this was today. Hive Digital announces purchase of 7,000 Bitmain S21 Antminers. So this is their 3rd purchase in the last month. So you'll see this order brings Hive's purchase of new generation ASICs last month to a total of 16,800 Bitmain new generation ASICs, comprising of 5,000 S19K Pro Antminers, followed by another purchase of 4,800 S19K Pro Antminers, and now 7,000 S21 Antminers. So overall, they give a little... Where do they say this?
thanks, Steven.
Here we go. Once installed in Hive's existing 140 megawatts of green energy, so that's important nuance they throw in there. They don't have to build out anything. This is going to go in their existing infrastructure. Hive's average fleet efficiency will be 25 joules per terahash. This was something that there's 2 or 3 companies that they needed to drastically change their composition of Bitcoin mining ASIC machines. And now we've seen Bitfarms basically swapping out their whole fleet. We see Hive coming in, adding newer machines, and doing some swapping out of old machines. So, everybody seems to be trying to get themselves plus or minus. This has kind of been a magic number, 25 joules per terahash as a fleet. That's much less than the network is right now, but I think it's going to be necessary. Several miners are even lower than that, but this keeps them, this is how to be competitive post-halving. So they're doing the things they need to do. This is their third purchase. They've had a series of smaller press releases. So they did not have the gigantic splash press release, where, we bought, 8 exahash or 20 exahash, or, Riot said 100 exahash. Marathon talked about 50 exahash. So there's a lot of people throwing around big numbers, and there's a lot of big purchase orders out there. But Hive's been, I think, a little bit under the radar with what they're doing, and I think they've been strategically adding, and I like what they're doing. So, again, I've been adding to this, but, please don't do what I do. I mean, if you want to do that because you've done your own due diligence and you like the stock, then that's... All right, welcome to Talkin Investing. Old Jock, member for 10 months. Thank you, sir, for being a member. Iris have 10 exahash fully financed and a ridiculously small market cap, in my opinion. And Iris ran. So let's look at the Iris chart for this week, and we'll look at that. I have that press release up somewhere. So this is what... No. Yeah, this is it. All right, welcome to Talkin Investing. This is what caused Iris. Iris had... Let's go to the chart. Look at these 2 green candles. These are the last 2 days. I mean, wow. So, in 2 days, Iris, and it pulled back. It's up 43% in 2 days. So, yesterday, and a lot of that was this giant candle yesterday. What was this from? And really, this candle starts here, but the previous day closed here. So this was actually up, 39%. So a giant green candle yesterday. And the reason for that was this announcement. A 10 exahash equity raising program welcome complete. To Talkin Investing. They made a series of announcements to get them from 5.6 exahash to 10 exahash. Now, it's important to know they're still operating, and you can see the remaining data centers are on track to be progressively delivered from early 2024, supporting an increase in operating hash rate from 5.6 exahash, which is where they are right now. So I don't want people to get confused. They're not at 10 exahash, but they did make these 3 purchases, and these, to get themselves, I think it looks like 2 purchases, to get themselves from 5.6 to 10 exahash. And now what they're saying is they've raised all the money they need to raise in order to do that. So a lot of people, they put out this giant plan to raise a lot of money, and I think the market's been waiting for an announcement like this. Now, what I would caution people is they have a $500 million at-the-market program. They've raised the money to get to 10 exahash, but they're not done raising money. So I think they probably used, a small fraction of that to get to where they're going here. There's a lot more ahead, but that's okay. If they showed the ability to say, they said what they were going to do, and then they went out, through these purchase orders, they've secured this, and, they've raised the money for it. Now, they do need to get these delivered, installed, operational, and we need to see some performance, and that will take a period of time. But clearly the market, and Iris was lagging, but this caught them all the way up and then some. This is the wrong green line. I don't know what that's doing, but back in July, so they're now past where they were in July. I'm just going to add a line. I don't know what's going on here, but essentially that's where they were in July. So they are now past that. So this is another company that has now passed their highs from July. Whereas 2 weeks ago, there were only Bitfarms and CleanSpark were the only 2 Bitcoin miners that had passed where they were in July of 2023. And I think you're going to see when I put the numbers out this weekend, it's now a significant number. And, I expect that to just continue to grow. And we talked about that a lot. I've missed a lot of things here. Crypto Fever, member for 9 months. Poll, can miners reach at or near previous all-time highs in the next 3 to 6 months? My take, yes, I see this happening 65 to 70% chance. So we can do that poll. And Stephen English, thank you very much, sir. Gifted 5 Talking Investing memberships. So thank you very much, Stephen. That is very generous of you. And welcome to our 5 new members. I hope you enjoy the membership. You can link yourself up to the members-only Discord. We have a once-a-week members-only live stream, so you guys can check all that out. And there's a bunch of content ready and waiting for you as well. So congratulations and welcome to the Talking Investing Squad. All right, so let's see where this poll is at, and we can wrap this poll. Will Bitcoin get to 48,000 by the end of the year? So there's only 10 trading days left for Bitcoin between now and the end of the year. And 61%, so very close to 60-40, in favor of, yes, Bitcoin getting to 48,000 by the end of the year. And I'm going to go to the one-day chart.
Tom, so do you think that with all the miners can get back up to where they were or better in the next 3 months?
Let's do that poll, and then I'll tell you my answer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, I don't want to skew people's, but I will definitely give my answer to this. But I think that's a good poll.
And I'm taking it you just mean the top 5, right?
Let's call it that. Let's call it that, because obviously, they're all going to perform differently. So we don't.
I would be a hard no, though, just if it was everybody.
Right.
Because you got well, then again, Any's just, wow.
Before I post that poll, Corey, thank you very much for the super chat. Corey said, Tom, up 31K on Bitfarms. Average cost 80 cents. Right. Where is Bitfarms in your eyes on an exit? What do you see it at by the halving? Please guess. All I can tell you is I'm not selling my Bitfarms. I talked about, I think, it's right now. I'll just quickly go to this and then we'll put that chart up. Right now it's finding some resistance at $3. There's a line here at $3.21, but you can see, it's at $2.99. It keeps candle wicking above this many times here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but it hasn't closed above $3 yet. I think once it does that, I do think it's going to, the next leg up is to $4, and then I expect $5, and I don't know how long that's going to take. And that's not my final price target by any means either, but I do think those two things are in reach, sometime in the first half of 2024, in my opinion. So I don't know the future, but I feel like there's room left to run here. And one of the important things for Bitfarms is we need to see them implement their plan, right? They rolled out a gigantic plan. So in that period of time, if we see them executing on that plan, and I suspect they will, they have been fantastic at execution, in my opinion. Ben Gagnon is in charge of their operations. We've had him on the channel. I think he's one of the top quality people in this whole entire industry. And so, I think they're going to execute. And if they do, then I think, we're going to see $4, $5, maybe $6. I think $9.36. Well, let's look. The next poll is going to be, can they get back to their all-time high? So let's see where Bitfarms was. $9.36 was their high from the previous cycle. So even after this gigantic run-up, they still need to have, a 212% run-up to get from here to there. So, yeah, to me, certainly by the peak of this bull market, I think it should take out this high. That's my opinion. Obviously, Bitfarms is one of my high conviction plays. So, of course, I think that. Wow, phone book San. member for 15 months. Okay. Time to spread some Christmas cheer. We are up over 10% just this week. Thank you, Phonebook-san, for being a member for 15 months. That makes you one of the original Talking Investing Squad members. Yeah, this was a spectacular week. I see not a Drew Tom up 180% on Marathon, 80% on Cleanspark. Congratulations. That one grabbed my eye. So I see a lot of people are really having some success. So just taking a minute to congratulate everybody, because if you're here, and these people that are showing these results, this is what can happen if you stick with this. And this was not an easy run. So
No.
absolutely everybody should pat themselves on the back that is, showing these results. This was true grit to get from there to here. So congratulations to everybody that did. And I do think, I think there's more to come. I think we're in, the crypto spring, and that's not really the explosive part. This is a great run. Don't get me wrong. 2023 is going to go down as a phenomenal year for Bitcoin. It's up 150% or more. So that's great, fantastic results. The Bitcoin miners I just showed you, a lot of them are going to be up 300, 400, 500, 600% in the year 2023. So, you're probably not going to get a year where they're up another 600% next year, because, as a multiplier effect, it gets a lot harder from the numbers they're at now. But to see doubles or triples again next year, and this may roll into 2025, that would be most typical, would be that the peak of this cycle for cryptocurrency would be somewhere in, more mid 2025. So I think lots of room left to run. So one of the questions I, think it's important to answer, a lot of people feel like they missed out. Just because you didn't get in on the bottom, and doesn't mean you're too late. Now, you don't want to chase things, so it's always a balance, but whatever your strategy is, like we talk about, have a plan. If you want to buy on the dips, or if you just want a dollar cost average, I certainly would not throw all my money in right now after these giant run-ups. If you're not in, it's not time to go all in. Not financial advice. If that's what you want to do, then I guess that's what you want to do, but that's a very high risk scenario. We always talk about dollar cost averaging in on this channel, buying the dips, and, of course, doing your due diligence and knowing your stock. Otherwise, you're going to get flushed out and be one of the many people that bought high, sold low, and, now they're frustrated.
I have to comment. Bubba cheeked, I'm down 90% on Iris. I love when somebody comes into our channel and it's never been here before, by the way. It says, you're nuts, guys. This is the local top. I'm selling by Tuesday. You know what's so funny, Bubba? You should have been listening to this channel for months, because we've been talking about Iris forever, by the way. And, things change. It's a very fluid situation.
I mean, I don't even know.
They had some very interesting things happen this week, and now they're a different play.
Anybody down 90% on Iris bought it years ago and did no dollar cost averaging, because
hedge fund plant. Excuse me. Hedge fund plant. Sorry, my throat. And what happens is these people, we have plants in now our stream, but in the videos that rate these just stupid comments.
So to get back to where this
we are nuts. Thanks for us. We are nuts. Yeah, we're crazy.
Nobody's arguing that point.
I can't. He is kind of right.
This is a gift. So listen.
But hang on. None of this is financial advice. We give you what we're doing and what Tom has researched, what he's going to do, but you make your own decisions with your money.
That's right. If you are an investor and you think this is a local top and that fits into your investment plan and you want to sell, I mean, do whatever you want.
Darren S., I think he says it the best, personally gained 444,000 this week. Nice week.
Let's put it this way. Here's the thing. If you bought 100% of your shares at Iris Energy's all-time high. So that's the absolute worst case scenario, right? You cannot get any worse than buying 100% of your shares at the all-time high. You would not be down 90%. So I don't know about the math on that individual, but it's just like that's a mathematical impossibility.
Guys, hit the like button. Get some more of these crazy guys in here. This is awesome. Oh, so this is a great question. Tom, which company do you think is the most undervalued right now after the close on Friday?
I'm going to have to do my research over the weekend, but a couple jump into my head. And there've been massive runs. So I still am looking at Hive, believe it or not. And I'm not saying that's my highest conviction play and that's my number one play, but I'm not done adding to my Hive position because, it lagged far behind on this run up. So I think that has some room to run. I saw somebody ask me, am I still adding to my Bitfarms position? I'm not adding to my Bitfarms position right now, but that is not an indication of any lack of conviction in Bitfarms. I went so far past what I thought would be my full Bitfarms position because it was so low for so long. I added, significantly more shares than I ever anticipated buying. So as a function of doing that, I actually do plan at some point to get back down to the position I intended to. So at some point, I'll sell off some of those shares to get back to a normal position. And the same thing with CleanSpark. With those two, I went so far past where I expected. I will take profits a little bit sooner, but I will still hold the majority of them. I mean, I'm going to, my plan, unless something changes, obviously, like George said, this is a fluid situation. So, if something changes, but right now my plan would be I'm going to wait until, we have the rest of this cycle play out. I think there's lots of room to the upside. That doesn't mean there's not going to be pullbacks in the middle. So,
well, I will just tell you this too shall pass. I'll just say, I just bought Riot a few minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, because I think, if I had to give you, the magic 8-ball, I'm going with that one right now. And this was also because I talked to Tom and we were talking about different things that are going on. So that's why I bought it. But hang on, I have a question for you, Tom.
Okay, go ahead.
If Bitfarms got to $25, would you get rid of it in 2 weeks?
If Bitfarms got to $25 in 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't even make it that far. I'd probably already be.
All right, welcome to Talkin Investing.
So you're saying $10?
Right. I'm hoping it gets back above the high from the previous cycle, and I'll start to average out. That doesn't mean I'm going to go to zero in my position because I think I'll hold some Bitfarms unless something changes. I may still hold them 5 years from now or beyond, but I will take a lot of, there's got to be profit taking at some point. If you don't take profits ever, then you really never made any money. So, I may be a year and a half away from my profit taking moment, and it's not going to be, wiping it out to zero. But yeah, I mean, 25, that would compel me to change my plan. And
Ron.
Also, and then
welcome.
Retire. So.
Oh, and then retire. Ron, thanks for coming. On Tuesdays, I don't know if we're going to do it this coming Tuesday, but on Tuesday we have a members only chat at 4:15, and there's a ton of useful information already on YouTube for you to go explore. So what Tom does is, he hasn't been doing it lately just because it's been freaking insane.
There's been madness, yes.
It's been madness. But usually Tom will get 4 of the stocks from the members, and then they'll go through it and do a deep dive. And when I say a deep dive, he'll spend, how many hours would you say you spend on your deep dives on these videos, Tom?
It's significant. I mean, I bet I average at least 15 hours of work to do one of those. Some of them are much more than that. There have been a few, when it's a Bitcoin miner, in 8 hours, I can get it all wrapped up because I've already, done most of my due diligence. But I still need to, I go through update from start to finish. But when it's a company outside of our normal list, yeah, it can take me probably anywhere as low as 15. There's some I've spent like 40 hours on, and that's why sometimes I do fall behind. And like George said, this has been a crazy month, and it's the holiday season, so I do have a Hot 8 video that's coming out, and then we'll get back on track when the new year starts. But we did it a lot. There's a significant library of videos ready and waiting for members right now. So I want
to. Hang on. Sorry. This too shall pass. Also, Tom did he bought a whole bunch of HUT this past week.
Yeah, I've been averaging into HUT. I've been out of Hive for a long time. I bought back into Hive. I feel like, that worked out really well for me. Sometimes, luck is a part of it. I started a dollar cost averaging at, just the right moment. Not always the case for me or anybody. So, you win some, you lose some. Darren said,
I'm only in 4 miners, by the way. I'm in Bitfarm. No, I'm not in Bitfarms anymore. I'm in Cleanspark. I'm in HUT. I'm in Marathon. And now I'm in Riot.
Yeah. So the second piece to my question would be, what's the best? I don't know, undervalued is the right word, but the other miner that I'm averaging into is Riot. Even though it's my third largest position, I think Marathon and Riot are the safest bets. Now, Marathon's run wild. Riot has lagged behind. And, whether it catches all the way up to Marathon or not, and I know a lot of you will say that it's never going to catch Marathon again. Time will tell. I do think there's a lot of room to the upside for that company, and I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging into that. It's only at, $17 and change, right? $17.78. This was a $76 stock, I think, back in 2021. So, that leaves an awful lot of daylight from here to there. And, even if it doesn't get all the way back to that, if it doubles or triples or whatever the case may be, not everything is going to be a 10x.
And then the other thing is I'm buying the underlying asset too. I've been doing that every single week for, man, what's really amazing, Tom? I think it was like November or like the first week of November or the last week of October. I said, I'm moving some serious money into altcoins and Bitcoin. And that has really paid off well for me, by the way.
Yes. And I know you've been very diligent. You're much better at being diligent and dollar cost averaging into the cryptocurrency than you are the stocks. That seems to be a better space for you specifically.
I don't know why. I guess it's because, and you know why? Because as soon as I buy it, I feel like I lost the money. Who cares? I'm never going to see it. It's kind of fun when I had it.
So somebody just said Tom. Then I lost it because I scrolled.
George, Sue was asking for your phone numbers, asking for a friend. That's what he said. These guys are funny.
His Honor said, Tom, please tell me why purchasing long-term calls January 2025, 2026 doesn't make more sense than purchase of the underlying shares. It depends on what level of risk you want to take and, balancing out. Everybody has different strategies. So if Bitcoin and, whatever Bitcoin miner you're in does what you think it's going to do, then that strategy will probably have more upside than holding the underlying stock. Now, if it doesn't, if things go more slowly, if things go sideways, the thing about options, and you're going to pay a big premium on a January 2025 or especially a January 2026 option inside of the Bitcoin mining space. Having said that, I'm not being negative about that strategy. I think a lot of people are going to make an awful lot of money on those call options, but they are a much higher risk equation than holding the underlying stock, right? If for some reason the stock pulls back 5% in that period of time, if you hold the stock, you will have lost 5% of your money. If you hold the options, you'll have lost 100% of what you invested. So it's about risk and reward. So yes, the reward in all likelihood is going to be higher, right? We did, most of us, I think, are bullish here on Bitcoin. And obviously, if you're buying a leap option in a miner, you're bullish about that miner. So very valid strategy, but it's both strategies are valid. It depends on your risk tolerance. It depends, everybody has a different investing strategy. So that can be an extremely financially rewarding strategy, but it is higher risk.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can do options anymore. I'm just going to keep shorting. I'm going to keep selling options. That's it. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. Try to do them out of the money, and hopefully I don't get screwed again.
But, that's the one thing you're.
Yeah, but I still made money. I just didn't make all the money. I don't really care. Does that make sense?
Let me give you this opinion, perspective, whatever you want to call it. In a bear market, if you're selling covered calls, you're probably going to consistently make money on those and not lose your stock and not lose a lot of upside, because, in a bear market, your stock is probably pulling back over time. So I know there's a lot of people, that is a common strategy. Again, if you don't know about options, please learn before you go make trades like this, because if you do the wrong thing in options, even if you accidentally just buy or sell the wrong thing, right? Because you can buy to open, you can sell to open, you can buy, if you press the wrong button, you could lose money. So it's something that you really need to understand and do the right way. But there is a lot of money to be made. But my fear in a bull market, and I think we're just, we've got another 15, 18 months left of upside, is if you're selling covered calls, you're going to lose your stock. Now, you might say, okay, that's fine, because then I made the money on the covered calls, I made the money on the stock, and now I'm out of the stock. But, is it your investment plan to sell the stock right now? Because if it's not, now you can buy back your covered calls and just take the loss. So I don't want to get too deep into this for those who are not, familiar or don't care about calls, but it's, in my opinion, selling covered calls is a lot safer strategy in a bear market. One of the things you can do in a bull market is the opposite. Sell puts, and then you either get to keep the money, or if there's a pullback, you buy the stock because you're looking to buy it anyway. So now you got kind of a discount from where it was. So that's the reverse. Not telling anybody to do that, not financial advice. That's probably even more complicated, and there's, that leaves you exposure.
Okay, well, I'll do it your way then.
That's not what I'm saying.
But 2 weeks before, like a month before that, it was actually probably 2 months before that, I screwed up and I made the wrong decision on shorting the market, and I longed the market and ended up making 20 grand, remember?
Yes, this was an example of making a mistake, but it all worked out in the end, and you made a bunch of money on it. So, hey, listen, sometimes things work out.
But what's so funny is Shaman said something about money in the United States versus money in other countries and stuff like that. If you would have bought a Bitfarms at 33 cents, I mean $1,000 at 33 cents, right? That's how many shares? 333 basically. And you multiply that on the price of what it is today. What it goes at $3?
Right, it's a 10x. Well, not quite, but whatever, an 8.5x. I mean,
now you have $10,000. Right, that's correct, right?
If you invested 1,000, you have probably 8,000 and change right now. If
8,000. But you know what I'm saying? It's right around there. I'm just doing math in my head, and I always am higher.
Yeah, the Bitcoin miners and most people. People weren't touching these with a 10-foot pole, right? Everybody, all these stocks are garbage. They're all going out of business. They're going to zero. So, that's when, if the underlying company, sometimes there's opportunities. The market is often wrong in the short term. And sometimes it's wrong on purpose in order to flush out, retail investors in specific. So, just don't just believe because the stock's going up, it's great, or because it's going down, it's bad, right? Make your own decisions. And, these dips for the right companies, that's the best buying opportunity you can get is a dip that's, a stock's pulling back when, there's no underlying good reason. And oftentimes,
oh my, he's right. That would be 3,000 shares, Tom. I was off.
With $1,000.
Yeah, with $1,000. Yep. And let's say that goes to $10 or $15 or $20 or $5 or right. That's crazy. But that's how the majority of America, that and real estate, have made money. Besides, so I've always been told to have 3 different ways of making income. So one's investment, one's work, and another's a side hustle.
That keeps you busy. That if you're ambitious and that side hustle is the money you can get, maybe that's the only money some people can afford to put in the market. And that's how they get their investments going.
Will some of the miners, Bitcoin miners, get back to an all-time home in the next 6 months?
Well, some of them will. Any of them, if you think,
if that's not 100%, yes, I can't even imagine.
Well, you're gonna be surprised at my answer then.
Really? You said some. So 2 is some.
And I should have caveated, like you had said before, I'm talking about, the top 5 Bitcoin miners. Are some of those going to get back to their all-time highs? And you can put all of them if you want, other than BitDeer, which just started trading this year, so that one's not fair. I will tell you guys, I don't think any of them are going to get back to their all-time highs in the next 6 months. And that doesn't mean I don't think they're going to do very well. I think they're going to, I'm very bullish. It's just most of these, and we'll go through as we're looking at that. I just want to show you guys.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the all-time high for CleanSpark?
$40.
Oh, really? Wow. It got to $40?
It got to $40 in January of 2021 when it was mining 5 Bitcoin a month.
40 freaking dollars.
Now, if you want to change that and say the all-time high in November of 2021 at the peak of Bitcoin, because some of these ran up just as small cap, high growth stocks. There was a bubble in December 2020, January, February 2021. Some of these stocks got to unreasonable numbers just inside of that bubble. So there's already a bunch of these that are past their all-time market cap. But they're nowhere near back to their... So, to look at Iris Energy, that's a 237% run. In 6 months, could that happen? I guess. That's a gigantic run. Remember, that's more than a triple after it's already up, 400%. So certainly it's possible. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's just look at some of these. We just looked at Bitfarms. Bitfarms, which has had, one of the biggest run-ups, it still needs to, 200%. That's $9. So I just don't have a price target of $9 for Bitfarms in May. That's 1 month after the halving. That's what we're talking about. Well, even if you want to call it June, 1 or 2 months after the halving, I'll be thrilled. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to be somewhere in the middle. I'm expecting big runs, just, maybe not as big as some of you guys are expecting. It looks like, right now the majority is expecting yes. And then, get to the big dogs. Let's go to the 1 week because, doing this on the 1 day is.
Yeah. Dilution. Dilution.
Okay, so this does not count. This is their all-time high. So Marathon was at stupid numbers a long time ago, a decade before they were even thinking about mining Bitcoin. I don't think that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, getting back to these highs from November of 2021. So Marathon was at $83. So again, just over 200%. So most of these are about 200% away from their all-time highs. So do I think they're going to get there in this cycle? I think all the ones I just mentioned are going to get past their all-time highs in this cycle. I just don't think it's going to be the next 3 to 6 months. That would be
so in the next
only
3 to
difference.
5 years. You would be okay with 3 to 5 years.
I the next 18 months, and I would answer yes for I think all the ones I just mentioned.
What if there's a recession?
I don't think it makes a difference for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. I don't necessarily think there's going to be a recession, but opinions vary. And if there is a recession, I don't think that's going to change.
How's the real estate down where you live, Tom? The market, is it still moving?
I would say it's not at its all-time, things got nuts again. It's still very hot, but I think it's one step less than it was at the peak.
So you're saying it's still healthy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very healthy, but, maybe not, out of control like it was starting to get.
Unknown. That's a great question. Unknown. If I have a question for you, which miner do you think is rubbish? Rubbish, I say, but has run up a lot.
Well, I don't like to disparage anybody. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But if I were to say the Bitcoin miner that I have the least conviction in is probably Gree.
Gree, really? The least?
Yes. That's me personally. And so Gree was up 15% today. Let's go back to the 1 day. This should be an indication to you guys just how rough a ride it's been for greenage. So from off of its all-time low here in June of 2023, it took out its December 2022 lows. So that's scary right there. It's up right now almost 300%. So that's a massive run up, but let's just put things in perspective. Gree, and I'm not going to go back to ancient history. I'm just going to go back to, again, the peak of this cycle, the previous cycle, right? This was August of 2021. I think this is still down, after a 300% run up, this is still down somewhere around 99.9%.
How much is it down?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 99.9% from its peak in August of 2021. And then you can go, okay, well, let's ignore that peak. Let's get rid of all. So if you want to take, this was at, and this is adjusted for reverse stock splits. So it was never really at these numbers, but effectively, even if you want to ignore this $5,200 and go all the way down to this $2,000, right? Which is, so I'm giving them a freebie pass on, down 65%. Even if you go from there, it's still down 99.5%. So this is a stock to me. I just don't see how they come back from, and I'm looking at the stock, but if, I'm showing you what the stock has done, but there's a reason it's down 99.9%. To me, the financials on this one are rough. Maybe they'll make it. I don't know. Maybe they'll make it. Maybe they'll get, who knows? But, you know, that to me, this is the one I have the least level of conviction in. And I have a list that, you know, I wouldn't touch. And some of those have had massive, we just looked at this. This is up 300%. So a lot of people will say, ha, you just missed a 300% run up. So you blew it. But I'm okay missing that because here's my problem. I don't have any conviction in Greece. So when, you know, would I have even caught that 300% run up, or would I have gotten out after a 100% run up? I'm not comfortable in this stock. So, you know, that's a part of owning a stock.
Well, no, I think that's part of having your convictions.
That's right. That's right. If you've got to have,
I'd be the exact opposite.
I'll see. There's more than.
I'm a chaser. I wish I would have chased with any. Man, I knew it was a short squeeze. Knew it.
You did say it 100 times, but, and I've had a bunch of those recently. Here's the other thing, though. You can't. It's hard. We can't all invest in every single thing that we like, right? There's a limited amount of funds, and you got to allocate them. So it does leave you. I have my list of things that I think have run by me, right? I was building a 2024 list, and a bunch of them started running, you know, already. So now I'm looking at them going, man, I already missed 30, 40, 50, 60% run-ups. Am I going to chase those now? Or, you know, did I miss that group and I got to go to the next group? Because there's always the next group. All right, I shouldn't have waited. But by the same token, I'm not taking my money out of the Bitcoin miners. So and I have a lot of other positions. These are my biggest positions, though. 3 of my 4 biggest positions in my portfolio are Bitcoin mining companies. So that is disproportionate, probably, to what most of the rest of the world would do. But, you know, this is where I spend all my time, effort, and energy. So. Will some of the Bitcoin miners get back to their all-time high in the next 6 months? 73% say yes. They think that they will get back to their all-time high in the next 6 months. And we just looked. I'll look at 1 or 2 more. But mostly it was, you know, just a little over 200% move to the upside to get back there. So that is closer than, you know, than I thought. But again, it's, you know, a 200% run up is a triple, just so, you know, to do the math for everybody, because I think that's confusing. So a 200% run up is a 3x. So if your stock just got done with a 3 or 4x, it's hard to do another one on top of it in the next 3 months. It's, you know, it gets increasingly more difficult. So just quickly to look at Riot. So Riot was an oddball. Riot had its all-time high. This is what I'm talking about. If you go back to February of 2021, this was a part of that. Riot was a part of that bubble. There were really only 2 Bitcoin mining stocks traded on the NASDAQ at that time. Technically, BTBT, I think, was also traded, but that was a completely different situation. So Riot and Marathon. Now, you did have Bitfarms, Hive, and HUT all trading on the Toronto exchange. And, you know, you could buy in the US, you could buy them over the counter, which I did. I was in those stocks as well. But on the NASDAQ, there was only a couple of stocks. So as a result, you know, Riot was the first mover, and, you know, it ran up. Its all-time high was actually back in February. So even at the peak of the Bitcoin's all-time high, Riot did not get anywhere near back to its previous high. But if we were just to measure back to there, 159% back to November. Now, to its all-time high, 346%. So, you know, this could be the one that stands the best chance if you count November, but that's not really fair. I mean, this is its recent all-time high, and that's 344%. So I just don't see it getting back there. And I just told you, this is one I'm still dollar cost averaging into. So it doesn't mean I'm not positive on the stock. I just don't know that, I think it's going to take a little while longer to get where it's going, in my opinion.
Wowza.
I haven't looked at TerraWolf in a while. Somebody, I think, was asking.
Yeah, somebody was asking about Wolf. And then somebody asked if you're going to have Ben G on anytime soon.
I was going to have Jeff Morphy on, the CEO. So do we like, I mean, say, do we like, would people rather see Ben?
Considering I don't know who either one of them is.
You remember Ben. He was on the channel. They were both on the channel.
Oh, okay.
Now you remember, right?
Nope. What do they own? Where are they?
That's Bitfarms.
Oh, yeah. They're Canadians, so I forget about Canadians. Sorry, guys.
You grew up on the border. So TerraWolf was at $43 back in November of 2021. So despite its recent run, the stock is still down around 95%. And there's a reason for that. And it's one of the reasons that, again, this is not a high conviction play for me. A lot of people love this company. And I do think, I will tell you, this run up in Bitcoin, I think this really helps their chances of getting where they're going. To me, it's still not one that I have a high level of conviction in, but I do feel a lot better about this company today than I did 60 days ago, because Bitcoin moved a lot further, a lot faster than, I can tell you, than all of us thought, because, we've been doing polls twice a week on this channel all year this year, and there was no poll result that thought we would be at 44,000 right now. That was way above the top range of what people were thinking in June, July, August, September, October of this year. So, Bitcoin had a massive, massive pump to the upside, which we can look at.
Tom, do you think, you didn't answer that. Do you think if Bitcoin would get to 48 before the end of the year?
I think that's, I think that, I can't say 50-50. I got to answer yes or no. So
yeah,
I'm going to change my answer in real time, because there are 10, in my mind, I keep thinking next week's the last trading week. It's a short week. There's only 4 trading days left, but that's for the stocks. Bitcoin does have 10 days to get where it's going. And I will tell you, this is, this is what I think, and I could be wrong. So I'm going to answer yes. And it is because if you look at this run right here, Bitcoin ran into some solid resistance just under $38,000. This was a couple of weeks where you could see it kept bumping up against this. And that was right after a really nice run up. So at a time where all the technicals were showing we were way overbought, we were due for a pullback. Instead, we had this, it wasn't even sideways consolidation. We consolidated, consolidated upward in this period of time. And then we hit this wall for a couple of weeks. That was a short period of time. And if I look right now, oh, sorry for the stray mark. If I look right now, I feel like we're doing the same thing. So even if we do this for another week, if we have another move after this last move, and I just messed this up, so I'm going to get all that off of here. After this last couple of weeks of consolidating, we had a quick, we had a quick 17% move to the upside. That was $6,500. Well, we don't even need to do that this time. If we just go from where we are right now, my line's at 48.2, but we said 48. It's a little less than 9%, or a little bit, just about $4,000 and 9%. So we could do that. If we break out of this little bit of resistance we're having right here, And this time, unlike this time where the technicals were screaming that we were overbought and due for a pullback, the opposite's happening right now. In fact, I'm going to add those back in and just show you real quickly. So if you look at the one-day RSI, we got up to almost 90 over here at the end of this run. So at the end of this run, at the daily RSI at 90, you would expect a pullback in Bitcoin. But instead, the daily RSI kind of reset itself back to 50 and Bitcoin kept going up. Well, now here we are again. We got up to, 82 this time, and we pretty much reset, not quite to 50. But more importantly, you're going to see that we seem to be, and this can always change. We had a bearish crossover, right after this happened in this sideways consolidation. We had a bearish crossover on the MACD, and it's been, a week and a half. And it looks like we are trending towards having a bullish crossover sometime in the next 3, 4, 5 days, could be 6 days. So if we have that, that's enough time to get back to positive and have a little run up. So yes, I'm going to switch my answer. I think we're going to get to 48 by the end of the year.
Real-time switching.
In my head, I'm thinking, well, it's probably going to take a couple weeks more than that, So I do think, I think the next stop's 48. But my initial reaction was maybe it's going to take a little longer than that. But now I'm thinking we're in striking distance. This certainly could happen. But I'm going to do my disclaimer because we are so unbelievably overdue for a pullback. Like I just showed you, the last time we got to 90 on the daily RSI, which is extremely overbought. That's a rare occurrence to get to 90. 70 typically on an RSI is overbought. To me, for Bitcoin on the one-day RSI, I more consider it 80, but 90 is, clearly overbought. And the last time we got there, we still just kept going straight up. And George, to the question you asked earlier, this is one of the reasons why. You asked, let's take a look at the US dollar. So here's the DXY, right? This is a nice run, right? Even if this was October. So remember this is when the Bitcoin miners started to turn around. So we're, that's an awful line, but this is clearly we're a couple of months into the dollar trending downward. And this is not some random event. This ties directly back into this. Remember earlier, for those of you who weren't here, this is the FedWatch tool. They're now building in a 74% chance of a rate cut in March. So, these are the things, cutting rates. Next is going to be quantitative easing. All of those things weaken the dollar. And the dollar is at, historic highs right now. So there's so much room for it to continue to pull back to a more normalized place without it even being, really, it's not like I'm predicting a crash in the dollar. This is kind of just getting back to normalcy. Right? Because this green line is a 20-year high. This is the DXY, which is a measure of the dollar against other currencies around the world. So you can see, we spent the last year and a half going most of it above the 20-year high. All right. So we're just kind of now getting back to just a little bit of normalcy here. So all these things are happening at the same time. And each one of these things is another piece of what you would put together, in my opinion, as an extremely bullish case scenario for Bitcoin, over the next 6 to 12 months.
702 said best puts to buy in case they don't approve the ETFs on the 10th. And then I got to leave after you say that.
All right. To me, the simplest way to do that, if you're in a miner and you want to protect your position, then you buy puts in the Bitcoin miner that you're invested in. But, you can buy puts on stock ticker BITO is the futures ETF. So there's already a Bitcoin futures ETF. Now, just quickly, the big difference for, and most of you already know this, the reason a spot ETF is such a big deal is a spot ETF needs to hold the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin. So if and when a spot ETF gets approved, all the money that's put into that, they're going to have to go buy Bitcoin for that. On BITO, the Bitcoin Futures ETF, they're just trading Bitcoin futures. So they don't own a single Bitcoin. They don't have to own any Bitcoin, and they will never own any Bitcoin. So it's fundamentally different. The impact of a spot ETF on the supply-demand equation is drastic, and the impact of a futures ETF is zero on the supply-demand. So that's why it's such a big deal.
Crypto Fever says, Tom George, if I told you a month and a half ago that Marathon would be at $27 right now, none of you would have believed it. So yes, I think some miners have a great chance of hitting previous all-time high in 3 to 6 months. I agreed with you. I mean, I'm with you.
I think that's a super fair comment because you're right.
Thank you, Crypto.
Yes. If you would have said Marathon was going to be at $27 just 2 months ago, and if we had done a poll, I think 5% of the people would have said yes to that. And here we are, and it's there. So you're absolutely right. And these runs and Bitcoin runs and the Bitcoin miners can have vicious runs to the upside, right? We just lived the crypto winter, and we saw how absolutely brutal the runs could be to the downside. So I think that is a fair point. I'm a little more conservative. There's no doubt in my price targets. Probably, when you compare my price targets to other people that you see on YouTube or talk to, I might be a little lower than most people, just my nature. But listen, I hope you're right. Nothing would make me happier. Shouldn't say that, but that certainly would make me happy. All of us, obviously.
I got to sneak out. Love you all, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody. And I got my one comment I'm going to make about Christmas.
Go ahead.
Don't complain about the what would be ham if it's undercooked. Oh, well, no, complain if it's undercooked. If it's dry, don't complain. Don't complain. I'll just say positive things, and you have the best Christmas ever, just So that's my advice, is say only positive things. Even if the sweater looks ugly, it's the best sweater you've ever got. So don't complain about the sweater I got you, Tom.
Deal. You got it.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And Merry Christmas, George.
Merry Christmas,
Enjoy.
Tom. And Tuesday, what are we doing Tuesday?
I mean, I'm up for a members only live stream
I'll
on
do
Tuesday.
I don't mind. I'm good.
All right, so let's
Tuesday.
do it.
We'll see you. See you guys. Merry Christmas.
So we'll see the members on Tuesdays only. George, have a great weekend. Enjoy the holidays. Okay, so will some of the Bitcoin miners get back to their all-time high in the next 6 months? 74%, so almost 3/4 of you think that yes. The answer to that is yes. So I think I'm the outlier. So I hope you guys are right. And it's not that I don't think they'll have big runs. Like I said, I think there's a lot of room to the upside. That's just a little sooner than I would have said, but let's hope that you are right. So we'll end that poll. It is, I should probably wrap it up soon as well because I got family starting to roll into town. So probably most of you are starting to prepare for the holiday season. So, but I will say, I want to thank everybody. We're almost at the end of the year here, and we've got a holiday weekend. So thank you guys very much for being with us on the channel this year. We did grow the channel a lot, even in very challenging times this year. We're almost at 16,000 subscribers. I know that's still a very, very small channel, but if you're here, if you enjoy this content, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, it does help the channel out a lot. So if you would consider, that can be your Christmas present to the channel, is to hit subscribe and smash the like button. And everybody, please have, I'll just add to what George said, please have a happy and safe holidays. Don't sweat the small stuff. And everybody should enjoy. I hope you guys are enjoying this run up. These are the good times we've been waiting for from an investment standpoint. So this was an absolutely phenomenal week. I will be putting out my weekly update over the weekend, going through what the Bitcoin miners did this week, and then updating the year-to-date chart, because, you know, there's just some spectacular numbers going on right now. So, you know, this next week will be the last week of trading in the year, and then it's going to be time to hit 2024. So I'm just going to leave you guys with that thought. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Everybody be happy, be safe. And to the members, we will see you on Tuesday. To everybody else, we will have our normal live stream next Friday, and that will officially be the last live stream of the year. So in the meantime, go Bitcoin, and we will see you then. Thanks.